Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that. I'm Joe.
And I'm Calvin. Raw.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
So,
Jumping straight into Dat Happened.
that happened with Joe. Skitty Bopper, how was your week? That happened with Joe. Yeah.
Okay. Diddy got arrested, as we know.
Take that.
Everybody's been using that same joke.
What?
And it gets funnier every time I hear it. I'm not going to lie. So, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of unfolding around Diddy's arrest. So, Diddy got indicted, as we know about, for sex trafficking. There's other hits that he may have been using his business as a front to do the sexual trafficking. It's not funny, but it's funny.
He also got arrested for stealing tons of baby oil.
He didn't get arrested for stealing it. They just found it, and the FBI is very messy and was like, "Guess what we found at his house?
Apparently,
10,000 bottles of baby oil
because it was stolen. He was trafficking and selling
baby oil
legally too.
That was not what was happening. But more about his freak offs were disclosed in that basically he would just trap these people in there to have sex for his enjoyment, to the point that they need IVs in the morning. So there was that. It's insane. It's insane. Also indicted are two of his sons, which is also crazy. To me, that's a little crazy, but okay. So the other fallout that's happening around Diddy is like his associations. People are noticing like a windfall of people resigning or announcing that they're leaving the country and like or distancing themselves from this producer. I knew Diddy was a very influential person in the industry. I did not realize how much power this man actually held. So it's been quite interesting.
Is it power or is it just people that he knows?
What does that mean?
Sometimes we conflate power with just having connections or knowing people. That has nothing to do with power sometimes. He just probably knows a lot of people.
I'm confused.
In music, maybe, yeah, you could say. I don't think
they're saying how he was able to control these people that he was trafficking was with his influence and power. Meaning, like, he was like, you have to go through me to get such and such done or do this or that or whatever, what have you.
It had a lot to do with music.
So you sound like Donald Faison. Or, yeah. Is it Donald Faison? Faison Love? Whatever his name is.
Sounds like it had to do a lot with music.
Faison Love doesn't blame Diddy. He thinks that this is being blown out of proportion right now with all of the allegations that are against Diddy right now for this indictment. And he feels like people are just looking for a scapegoat. And for whatever reason, they've chosen Diddy, which basically absolves him of a lot of the statements that have been said about him, including Cassie's original testimony that put this into motion.
Whatever. I do think if they got any any evidence of a lot of those people being minors, then yeah, he's gone away for a very long time.
They don't just have to be minors; they just have to be there against their will.
I think if they got, because they're also saying underage trafficking too, right?
It's included in the trafficking, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But that's not what they're getting him on. They're getting him on regular adult sex trafficking.
What I'm saying to you is if they got any information of that, that's what's going to put him away.
And what I'm saying to you is this man has a ridiculous amount of counts against him. Even if it's not minors that were in this at all, he's still going away for a long time.
Okay. I think the minor thing is what's going to put him away for a long time.
You told me he wasn't going to see any time. You told me he was getting out.
Probably don't think so. But if they got evidence of him trafficking minors, yeah, it's a rap. I don't think he's going to get much time as people think.
Mm-hmm.
But if they have, like I said, information on him trafficking minors, then yeah, it's going to be a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying he doesn't have influence. What I'm saying is sometimes connections can just be connections for him to do what he needs to do. But I think a lot of those people he's probably trafficking probably wanted to be in the music industry or the music business.
Mm-hmm.
So any way you look at it, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been hearing about Diddy having throwing crazy, drug-filled, sex-filled parties for a while,
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. After the Playboy Mansion died down, he's talking about he's through parties like the Playboy Mansion. Whatever.
So my thing is, on top of the sex stuff, he's facing RICO charges, and that's enough to put you away for a long time.
And that's what the Fed's going to use to get him.
These are all federal charges. None of these are state charges.
What I'm saying is, if they don't have concrete evidence on other stuff, they're going to get him for the RICO.
But that's why they're saying he's going to go for a long time. It's just a matter of how many lifetimes is he about to be away for. That's what they're saying.
I'm not saying. I don't think he's going to.
I know. You say he's not serving no time. So, okay.
I don't think he's going away that long.
We're just going to bookmark it right here. Calvin thinks Diddy's not going to serve.
I don't think he's going.
Oh, you told me he's going to do time served. So we're going to bookmark that you said he's going to do time served.
I don't think he's going to do the time people think he's going to do.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
You said he's going to do time served.
I don't think he's going to do the time people think he's going to do.
I don't know.
Because people thought R. Kelly was going away forever.
He is going away forever. He's got 30 years to life. What is forever to you?
He's not doing 30.
He applied for a resentencing, but it got denied.
He's not doing it 30. Because Bill Costas would do a bunch of time too, wasn't he?
I don't know. He only had the one charge that they managed to convict him on, and then they overturned it.
Harvey Weinstein supposed to be there in there for a minute too?
Again, another situation where it was one conviction. Diddy has more than one.
What I'm telling you is, he might be gone for a while, but I don't think he don't get the time that people think he's going to get. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think, I got a feeling R. Kelly about to get out too. Mm-hmm. Oh, not get out, but get his time reduced too. I got a feeling. I think a lot of this stuff is just to distract, to get us to talk about things while they do something else.
Yeah.
Because to me, all this stuff is conveniently happening at certain times.
So what is Diddy distracting us from?
That's the thing. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But it seems odd that he's been out this whole time and they've been trying to get him. And then all of a sudden he's just
Well, he was indicted
arrested.
for a long time. So they just finally decided to move forward with actual prosecution.
My thing is, why now? They could have done that a long time ago. The evidence they got now, I'm pretty sure is all the evidence they had for the longest.
But you also told me that federal sits on it until they know that they have a conclusive case.
I think.
So I wonder if they were waiting to get a yes from something, and that yes finally came in. And now they were like, let's go. That's what I think.
Could be. That's what it could have been. Because, yeah, they're not going to really move until they got concrete evidence, because it's easy to dismiss their charges.
Well, apparently it's easier to dismiss state charges than it is federal charges. From everything that I've been watching,
yeah, because
state builds a case after the fact, after you're charged.
Yeah.
But feds do it the opposite way.
Yeah.
They build the case and then they charge you.
Yeah.
So I wonder how easy it is to get those federal charges dismissed.
It's not. It depends on, can you find a loophole or something they did.
Mm-hmm. So the other thing I found interesting is
once you find one loophole, it pretty much nicks out everything. Damn near.
The other thing I find interesting is that Diddy and his lawyers have applied for bail twice and got denied twice. That's also very interesting to me.
The reason it got denied is because the first time, here's what I think happened. I think they were going to get his ass the first time. He left. And then they said, you know what? Let's just make sure we got all our ducks in a row.
Right.
Before we go this time.
Mm-hmm.
And feds got involved. And feds like, oh, okay, we're taking over now. We're going to do this, and this. Let's make sure we get all this done. Okay, now we got a case. We got our case.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go get him.
So he is indicted for racketeering, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, also kidnapping, forced labor, bribery, and something they call other crimes.
Now, guess what? They're going to get him for the racketeering.
What is racketeering?
That's like...
The money? That's money, right?
That's like mafia charges, almost.
Making money from dishonest activity, it says.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like mafia.
So like when they're washing the money and all the stuff we see on like TV,
That's how
that's
they get,
racketeering.
that's the loophole they use to get the mafia.
Gotcha. Money laundering, shoplifting, blackmail operations.
So,
Whoa, blackmail operations falls under racketeering? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So he's charged on all of that. Of course,
So
there's a 14-page indictment. I
you
kind of want to read.
you can believe the racketeering is going to stick.
The racketeering is for sure going to stick. I also think the kidnapping charges are going to stick. We saw what he did with Cassie. There's other women coming to the forefront about how they weren't allowed to leave Diddy. So that's also coming up. Did you see that Howard University distanced themselves from him? He didn't even graduate from Howard. He went to Howard for like a year.
That's what everybody does when the shit hits the fan.
It's just very interesting to me because he donated so much money to that university.
Not to me.
Very interesting.
I guarantee they ain't gonna give back none of his money.
Well, no, that's not how donations work.
Well, if you're gonna distance yourself from me, give me back my money too.
Why? That's dumb.
Then
dumb.
Then I'm gonna keep using your name as I go down.
You can, but I'm just gonna say, we're not doing that anymore. That's what that's what we're gonna say.
Whatever.
But anyway, so all that's going on with Diddy. All these
and then
clips.
I'm gonna lie and say I use your university to clean some of my money, or to throw some of my money away.
The other thing I find very interesting about what's going on with this is that we're getting a lot more insight into how federal court distinguishes their sentencing. As somebody who works with federal government, I know that there's guidelines and SOPs for everything, but to see that also played out and how they do charging is very interesting to me. They show, so one of the lawyers shows the graphing chart that they use and how they distinguish how many months you get per crime on the sentencing. And there's all these subsections and amendments. And I was like, yeah, this feels very like very policy federal work. It's very interesting to me.
Yeah, because they have a different set of guidelines they got to play by.
I just find it very interesting how far apart state determination is versus federal determination. Because state determination, they kind of leave it. I mean, like there's still a guideline that they kind of have to follow, but it's also based on whether the judge is making that determination or a jury. But federal, it's one thing, whether it's judge or jury. So the other thing is, right now, Diddy's lawyers are trying to avoid the trial going to a jury because he's so known. Like, who are they going to get that doesn't really know him to give an unbiased anything? But the way that it's leaning, one of the lawyers I was watching was saying that either Diddy is not listening to his legal group and just doing what he want to do, or he has terrible lawyers in the way that this is handling. I wouldn't be surprised that Diddy's not listening to his lawyers.
Whatever. I don't care what happens to celebrities.
Okay.
Don't.
All right.
They're just people.
What do you think about
like us
the fallout of
at the end of the day
association?
with money.
Usher's now under the microscope. They're talking about Usher's dealings with Bieber and Diddy. How Usher has gone on record to say that Diddy. Remember, I told you I didn't know that Usher mom gave guardianship to Diddy for like a year. Now they're talking about how Justin Bieber's parents gave Usher guardianship of him for like a year when he was doing his career. And apparently it was initially supposed to go to Diddy, but the courts wouldn't allow it. So it had to go to Usher. And I was like, why wouldn't the courts allow it? It's been a very interesting time. It's been a very interesting rabbit hole. But so they're showing that association. They're showing the association of Chris Brown, anybody who goes to those freak off parties. Jamie Foxx is now, like, more people are paying attention to what Jamie Foxx has said about those parties and what his participation in that is. And depending on how the fallout of this is, there could be ramifications for people who attended those parties. It's been a very interesting time because almost everybody did.
Those people are not going to jail.
No one said going to jail, but there are talking about like fining, but also just association.
So what is the public going to do now? Are they going to stop listening to those people's music? Are they going to boycott those people?
Or you're saying ultimately they'll be fine?
Yes. What are you going to do?
Interesting.
What are you going to do?
I think they're talking about the immediate. A lot of these people have projects that are about to be released. And with the timing of this, it's kind of like...
It doesn't matter.
Well, it matters for money. It matters for their money.
So guess what's going to happen? They're going to push those projects back. And when it's done, they're going to put them out.
Okay. But they're probably also still hemorrhaging money. In the
It
meanwhile,
don't matter. You're not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to move on to the next big thing that happens.
so you're saying I shouldn't have brought this up and that happened. I talked about Diddy's thing.
No, what I'm saying, the fallout from all the other people, no one cares.
Okay.
We care now because of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Usher's going to go on. Usher's still touring.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is,
he's not touring.
Wasn't he touring?
No, he had the Vegas residency.
Whatever. We already knew all these people who've been to Diddy parties. These people talk about being to Diddy parties from links for a long time.
I think people are worried about it being the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like, what other secrets are going to get knocked out? Because now people are talking.
These aren't
more and more people are comfortable talking.
These aren't really secrets, though.
But there could be actual legal ramifications now. That's what they're talking about. They may be known secrets or transparent secrets, but they didn't have any ramifications, and now there might be ramifications.
The only ramification is going to be it's Diddy and the people who are personally involved. That's it. The people who just attended, shame on you.
No, they're not just talking about the party. They're talking about what other secrets they're keeping. So right now, there's an allegation that Chris Brown had sex with a minor. Like, that's circulating hard because people are realizing that the paperwork they signed, what do they call them?
NDAs?
Yes, the NDAs they signed. It doesn't stop them from talking about it if a crime was committed when that wasn't, initially explained to them that way. So now a lot more people are feeling emboldened to talk.
I don't care.
I find it very interesting. But I'll make a note not to put this in that happen next time.
The reason I don't care is because at the end of the day, we only care. We don't care. We really don't. We just like the
world at large.
Yeah, we just like to sensationalize and stuff.
Okay.
That's it.
So I'll make a note not to put these in here anymore. We'll talk about other stuff.
That's not the point. The point is, I'm just saying, people really.
You said you don't care.
Me personally, I don't want to talk about it, but I don't. I don't care.
You don't want to talk about it?
No, I don't care. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't mean if somebody brings it up, talk about it. I won't talk about it. I just personally don't care.
Oh, you're saying the investment that people are having in this is overblown?
Yeah.
Okay.
I personally don't care.
Okay.
It's just because, to me, it's not. We're not going to change anything.
Okay.
Nothing's going to change.
So you don't think after Bill Cosby, that's not right. Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein, nothing was changed?
Not really.
You don't think that the windfall after that, if people coming forward with their own allegations and winning those trials, wasn't a result of what happened with them?
Did it change Hollywood?
Did it? Yeah. For the better? Maybe not, but it did change.
Or did the people who in power now, who's in charge now, just change? That's all.
But that means something changed, though. You know what I mean? That means something changed.
But I'm pretty sure.
Now, is it a dramatic change that you probably think that people are saying should be happening? Was it a dramatic change? Probably not. But something did change.
I'm pretty sure those people who took over were doing the same thing.
I'm just saying, you've got people that are like, this is the way that the world is. Nothing's going to change it. And then you have other people that are like, well, I'm going to try to change it. And they do make these subtle changes. Where like more and more, like especially for women, more and more women are now feeling a little bit more support to come forward and say this stuff. And to me, that's a positive change. Is it a huge dramatic change? Like, is the world now perfect? Of course not. But it changed something.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not saying that little change isn't good. I'm just saying the grand scheme of things.
No, I understand in the context of what we're talking about. You're saying us like getting into all these details. That's not going to change anything. I understand that point.
And to me, unless Diddy just starts doing a Nino Brown and just start telling on everybody.
You don't think he is, though? You don't think he will to try to save some time?
I don't think he has information on so-and-so took something in his butt. That means absolutely
I mean,
nothing.
yes, the sex thing is part of it.
That means absolutely
But people are looking, or I shouldn't say people, legal action is looking at who helped him, who helped support this.
And I think the people who help support him are people that we don't even know.
No, we do know. People have names. They have people, his associates that worked with him.
What I'm
They've
saying
got
to you is,
his chain of management with the studios.
and what I'm saying to you is, those people aren't the people that we care about, like the singers, the ushers, the Chris Browns, those people.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's the people who we wanted to be.
Uh-huh.
The what's the pastor's name?
TD Jakes.
TD Jakes. That's the people who we wanted to be.
I didn't even think about the TD Jakes connection at all.
That's the people who we wanted to be.
Oh, well, I mean, media-wise, those are the names that you can sell easier, for sure.
But that's the people we everybody wanted to be. But those people are just going to be people who participated.
Well, but I think
that's what I'm saying.
A lot of other people who are looking outside of the big names, what they're looking at is that I don't want to say for the first time ever, but there's been more focus on who helped him.
But you're looking at it from a person who is actually wanting to know the information point of view. Majority of people aren't like you who want to know the information. They just want names.
I think you should give people a little bit more credit. They may, because I've been watching these on TikToks, and these TikToks have millions and millions of views. So clearly, I'm not the only person who's looking for the whole picture.
Those TikTok people are looking for the big names. Then they're just looking for.
But
names.
they're also the videos that are where I'm finding this information that they're looking at the grander people. Those are on TikToks that are also being watched.
But once again, those are the people who might want to know the details, like you. The people that we don't know. Who are the people that we don't know who helped? People just want to know if Usher or Chris Brown had anything to do with it. Because we notice those are the names that people just throwing around.
No, Usher, Chris Brown, Mary J. Blige.
You see what I'm saying? Those names are the names that everybody's throwing around.
Did you see the interview Mace did? So Mace was on a maybe he has this morning show podcast.
He has a morning show podcast.
Okay, so he was on his
camera.
He was there was a lady there. Maybe this
with a camera on and a lady.
Okay, so he was on his morning show podcast, and he was dressed in a blue suit but with this orange tie, and the lady was like, "Oh, this is a very interesting outfit that you're wearing today," because it was right after Diddy's indictment and his arrest. And she was like, "Is this a statement of any kind?" And Mace goes, "No statements right now." And she goes, "Okay, no statements right now." And she goes to move on, but then he pulls focus back to him and goes, This might symbolize something a little bit later down the line, but no statements for right now." And I'm like, what information is Mace sitting on? Basically, is he about to be a witness?
Mace is sitting on the fact that Puff never paid him for what he actually contributed to Bad Boy.
That's a lot of people. Unfortunately, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of artists who did not get paid. Danny Kane.
Mace is different. Mace is way above Daddy Kane in the big boy and the Bad Boy scheme of things.
112.
He's bigger than 112 in the Bad Boy scheme of things. Mace, after Biggie died...
I didn't realize I drank this fast.
Sure you did. After Biggie died, Mace was the one that kept Bad Boy afloat. All those, how do they say, champagne toasting songs? All that was Mace. The reason Bad Boy made
112 was around that time period too. Faith Evans. That's who I want to know.
Whatever.
Kim.
Mace was the one who kept them afloat as far as they did go before Bad Boy just like, because after Mace left, Bad Boy pretty much was done.
Did Kim leave before Mace left? Kim might have left before Mace left.
And when Mace left, that's when Bad Boy was done.
Have you heard about 50 Cent's reaction to all of this? He says he's going to do a documentary. Whatever. 50 Cent says he's got video evidence of people participating in these freak off parties with the prostitutes, with the underage girls. And he threw out there that Marlon Wayans was one of them. It's been a very interesting time.
Seemed like 50 Cent is
he petty, so I don't know.
He's a professional troll. That's all he is.
Is he a liar though? Is my question. Is he a lying troll?
The only way for him to get those videos is if he was there.
Yeah, he doesn't say he wasn't there, but he says he's going to do his own documentary on it.
Which means he was participating.
Very interesting. Oh, you think he's going to tell on himself? And his goal to try to further do whatever to Diddy, he's going to tell on himself?
That's what happens a lot of times.
That's true.
Telling on yourself.
That's true.
So,
anytime. Anyway, so Diddy situation happening. There was a Shits and Gigs controversy. In case you don't know, Shits and Gigs is a UK podcast helmed by these two black guys. They're British. They did a US tour. So it's their second US tour. And apparently back in July, they did a bunch of interviews with people on their podcast. However, due to how everything is edited and put out, those podcasts only recently came out. They did one with this girl podcast. I don't remember nobody's name, so I'm just gonna learn it this way. They did one with the girls podcast where they basically said that there were no baddies in Atlanta. And a lot of people were up in arms about that because what the hell are they talking about? What do you mean there's no baddies in Atlanta? You would have seen the TSA agents. So, but they said they saw nothing but tens in Seattle, Washington. And people were like, okay, so I know where we're going with this then. That sounds about right. Some of the podcasts were under fire as well, like the girl podcast that had them on there. He's talking about there's no Atlanta baddies. These girls are out of Atlanta, but they actually come from Texas. So they call themselves Texas baddies. So they said they felt like the joke was fine because it didn't affect them at all. They are not from Atlanta. However, their podcast is based out of Atlanta.
But
they work out of Atlanta and they live out of Atlanta.
They're using Atlanta
as their home base. Yes.
No, they're using Atlanta.
Oh, for their branding.
For their branding.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep, they do. They talk about being in the ATL all the time, but then they were like, I have no loyalties to you. What?
Because nobody talk about being in Houston, Texas all the time.
So true. So after that, people were like, well, like the guys are still cool. They probably don't like black women, but they're cool. Then they go to the Flagrant 2 podcast. This is held by Andrew Schultz and his ridiculous people. He's known for his racist rhetoric, race baiting comedy. He likes to say that it is. And he basically threw them under the fucking bus. So as soon as they get there, he did his normal shtick of like, let me tell all these race jokes. He says that black women are abusive and annoying. He says that Nigerian people are all scammers, and the boys just kind of laugh along with the jokes. They don't say anything to dissuade him. They join in, and it caused a big hubbubaloo, right? So people were like, between the baddie situation and now this, clearly these boys do not fuck with black women like that, even though black women make up 80% of their audience.
So who's at fault, them or the black women, for following them?
What do you mean who's at fault? Them. Their fault.
No, it seems to me.
Why? How would they know before now?
It seems to me these dudes been kind of probably dissing black women the whole time.
So that's what a lot of people said. A lot of people were like, they probably had that as part of their rhetoric in their other podcasts. I don't watch enough of their podcasts to know. That's what other people were saying. But this was the first time it was like flagrantly in their faces, kind of a deal.
But it doesn't. But
my thing is, I'm not gonna put the blame on the people who didn't do the action. That sounds insane to me.
What I'm saying to you is that the fact that black women are the ones that are pushing their podcast and they don't give two shits about them.
You said it's probably not new action from the boys.
That's what I'm saying. And
okay.
I'm like, I don't know. Then why are all these black women, following these dudes?
Because they probably didn't know it. They found out now.
There's no for these guys to be like this and not know.
Actually, there absolutely is a way. So these boys are huge on social media. Those are small clips of their overall podcast. Their podcast followers, that number is nowhere near what their social media numbers are.
Okay.
So black women, more than likely, the black women that were following them only saw the clips. And those clips were exactly what they wanted them to see. Where it's them talking to each other and big up in black women. So then when social media clips come out of them not doing that and laughing, they're like, what is going on?
Okay, makes sense. So they're not as big as they
They're not big in their actual podcast followers, but they're big social media followers. They have millions of followers on TikTok, Instagram, and the like. Actually following their podcast, not as high.
Okay.
So.
But then that's when you got to do your research.
Well, I also can't blame people for going into everything being like, well, let me look back in the history.
No, because to me, from what you said and from just that alone, I'm like, because I thought dudes were their biggest pushers for their podcast.
I think going on to Flagrant 2, they wanted dudes to be their biggest. Because I don't know too many women who are like Flagrant 2. I love it.
Even their social whatever, I thought dudes were the ones pushing it, and that's why I'm like, oh, that's okay. This makes more sense why they do that, because they ain't really got like when they follow them like that. to find out black women are the main ones following them.
hmm
That's crazy to me.
Well, again, it was because they seemed like one of the few men's podcasts that was that wasn't misogynistic
But
or
anywho,
racist or the fun misogynoir when it's
anywho,
both.
back to this Andrew Schultz dude.
Yes. So our Chits and Gigs boys give out an apology after all of that. But the apology kind of falls hollow. They don't really address who they hurt, which was black women. They just kind of say they fell into a fight or flight mode during the whole taping for Flagrant 2. And they just wanted it to be over and done with. But they've learned their lesson. They understand the need to protect black women and they're trying to get better about their reaction time. That's what they basically say. And actually, that's what one says. So there's a guy named James and a guy named Fuhad who run this podcast. Fuhad doesn't really say anything. Fuhad is the one that was making fun of Nigerians. So then Flagrant 2 comes out and they do their own review of the apology. And of course, it's Flagrant 2. They just throw these boys under the bus even further. They make noxious jokes about everything that the boys are apologizing for. They're like, you don't have to apologize to black women. They're equals. They don't need your protection. They're not a part of your community. And people are like, what's happening? So then it gets to a point where Andrew Schultz says their producer, meaning Shits and Gigs producer, actually asked them to cut out stuff from their taping of that podcast because they felt it was bad for their brand. And they never mentioned the jokes about black women or even the Nigerian jokes. He's like, so what do you think about that? So it has been hilarious right now, outside of all of this world, if you're just following this, for these poor guys. The other thing that happened is Shits and Gigs went and deleted the first 100 episodes of theirs from their podcast. And in one go. And it's just, it's been something people have been talking about.
What's that telling you?
One, they were talking mad shit in those first 100 episodes. Two, no one was listening to them because no one, at least none of the women were picking up that this was happening. Three, they're going to be fine. That's what I picked up from this. They deleted 100 episodes and they still have like hundreds more on there. They're going to be fine.
Okay, well, like I said, how about we just not talk about black women?
That would be great. That would be wonderful.
How about we just generalize everything and we just leave black woman, the word black, before the word woman out of it. How about that? We just give black women a break.
That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. One day.
How about?
One day.
Because I've seen angry white women. I've seen angry Asian women. Hispanic women. Every ethnicity has angry people in it.
Well, because people have emotions. So yes.
So that whole thing, and maybe if you weren't such a dick, they wouldn't be angry at you. How about that?
We should just not be assholes. That'd be great.
One
day.
How about that?
So, but yeah. So that's what I got for That Happened. We're already like half an hour in. I had one more thing. It was like a radio, like 80s song game, but we're running 30 minutes in already. So we can move on. You want to talk about the shows?
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead. Bring us in.
I guess Worth the Watch, Coming from America, episode 3.
Yes. Coming from America is a show that's on Max, aka HBO Max, aka the HBO app. That's talking about black families that move from the States to Africa. We're visiting 2 countries. 2 families moved to Accra, Ghana, and 1 family moved to Lusaka, Zambia. Kicking it off. I just realized I didn't put no notes for the Smiley family. Anyway.
So the Kelly family, basically, they're getting ready. First, they go to a shindig that
another they talk about their jokes first.
So basically, they're trying to make their jokes more cultural understanding for the people in Ghana.
Because it's very American based right now.
So
one of the boys is like, well, I have this ADD joke. And they've got a Ghanaian barber at the house that's shaping him up. And he goes, what's ADD? So they have to like do local research to find out what local topics would work for their joke set. All of them. They're even going after the little baby.
So they do that to get that done. And then they go to like a shindig where another family who's supposed to be on this thing, I don't even know their name.
No one knows their names because they haven't been introduced.
So that family holds.
But they're the tour family. They're the family that they've been expats for a minute.
they pretty much have a big greet and meet, and pretty much
Meet and greet.
And helps the Kellys and Gerald actually mingle and meet people. And I guess he got him a venue to
It
do.
wasn't a meet and greet.
What was it?
It was the king, King Father and Queen Mother, or King Chief. It was their party. It wasn't a meet and greet.
Sure.
It was a welcoming party.
Okay. Anywho. And pretty much he sits Gerald down, they have a conversation and let him know, hey, we found a venue they want to do something different. So
for comedy. They found a venue for comedy.
Yeah. So he's like, cool, thanks. Wrap up. They're having a good time dancing, getting together. Then I guess Gerald and his older son Isaiah go out and just go around the town. Like, I guess enjoy some of the nightlife.
No, they went on with a specific reason to go look for girls. He was trying to get some queens. Isaiah's trying to find some queens.
They were hanging out the nightlife. If that happened, it happened. So
no, he said it at the beginning.
So he goes out. I guess he meets a young lady.
Actually, that young lady walked up to him from clear across the other way.
They leave and they go meet up with Michael Blackston at another little club or something and hang out for a little bit.
Well, to get more information about the comedy scene in Ghana.
And that's pretty much the Kellys in a nutshell.
What about some of the obstacles they faced? What did you think of any of those? Them trying to think of the new jokes, them still trying to figure out what to do with these goats.
Par for the course. They don't know. They didn't try to figure out none of the customs or anything before they went there. So par for the course.
What did you think of Isaiah's conversation around his dad not relenting when it came to the business and not just letting Lamara do her job? They can't hear you. Shake your head.
Sure. He's right, I guess. He's right. You can't ask somebody to do your business, then not let them do your business.
He was like, they love fighting. Like, that's the basis of their relationship is they fight. They will find something to fight about.
Well, it seems
I found that very interesting.
Seems like they don't need to be together.
It also is very interesting because at least the TV show hasn't shown that dynamic. We haven't seen that dynamic.
They've argued. It hasn't been fights.
That's what I mean. We've seen them have disagreements, but we haven't seen them fight.
They have a lot of disagreements. I think that's what he means when he said fights.
No, he said like screaming matches. They find a way to have these. He said it adds spice to the relationship.
Well, I don't think they're going to attempt to do it on TV.
Also, we're now episode 3 in. They said they've been there for a few months. How are they making money right now?
They're probably flying back and forth.
Oh, you think they're going into the States still to work and come back?
They're probably doing stuff overseas that's close enough that we didn't get on a plane, go and come back.
So my other question is, they're supposed to be expats. You have to formally give up your citizenship to be an expat.
So I don't know.
You don't think they have?
No.
Okay.
Hell no.
All right. That's fair.
I don't think none of these families gave up their thing yet.
The reason you have to do that is tax purposes. If you decide to, and work purposes, if you decide to work or own a business or anything that's in that country, you need work visas, blah, 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 if you don't give up the citizenship. If you give up the citizenship.
I think they're doing work visas. I don't think a lot of these people give up the expat yet.
Give up their citizenships, yeah, you think?
Because if this is only 8 episodes, that means they left.
6.
If there's only 6, that means they left. Or that means to me, the show's over. So
How's the show over?
Is it going to be a season 2?
I don't know.
It's 6? Okay, whatever. Sure. Who knows?
I'm confused. You don't think that they've given up their citizenship because there's only 6 episodes?
No, because it's not like they can get it back.
You can get your citizenship back. You can get it back. Is it easy? No.
Okay, so I don't think these people giving up their citizenship.
I just find it interesting.
So I don't know these people know if they're going to, after 3 months, that they really want to live there.
I just want to know how they're going to work because they talk about finding work.
They probably got work visas.
But you can only have a work visa if your job supports you.
I'm pretty sure they can buy one.
They can what?
These governments aren't like the American government. I'm pretty sure.
You think they illegally purchased? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Let's stop this nonsense. Act like these governments are legit, perfect governments.
I bring that up because our next family, the Smiley family, the wife in that family is looking for work. volunteering is a loophole. That's a nice loophole to keep your citizenship and be doing something in that country because she's not technically getting paid. But she says she hopes to eventually get paid. The only way she could get paid doing that is work visa or formally giving up that citizenship. So I found that for me, the logistics of that part is interesting. I want to know how they're making this work because if they're doing travel visas right now, you have to leave that country eventually. So what a lot of people do is hopping. They'll go to that country, do whatever, and then they leave that country, go somewhere else. And then they go back to the States and then they go right back to that country. Because you have to leave through immigration, come back through immigration to show that you're not a resident of that country. So, very interested to see.
Whatever. Pretty sure they found loopholes.
Interesting. Sure. Anywho, smiley family. So our Lusaka, Zambia family, the husband is feeling the financial strain. He says that his wife likes the luxury life, but they can't necessarily afford the luxury life because Zambia is actually more expensive than they had anticipated. Turns out groceries in Zambia for a family of 4 is very expensive because it turns out a lot of it is imports. It's not like the U.S. where we do have a lot of imports, but we have these tax tariffs on these countries. So it's not as expensive for us to shop in the grocery store. Even the grocery store is expensive, but it's a lot more expensive in these other countries. So they're struggling. It was just very interesting. It's a 180 from what the family said before.
Really why they're struggling with the groceries.
Oh, no, I'm saying the family is struggling.
The reason they're really struggling with groceries is because they have to buy groceries damn near every other day.
Yeah.
Because they can't afford to buy for like a month or so.
The food is not shelf stable for them to keep it longer than a couple days.
Buying food at a rapid pace.
Uh-huh.
That's probably really why.
I wonder if it's both. I wonder if that adds to it too. Because they showed how much she paid for olive oil. Did you see the price?
What, $27?
30.
$30.
It was like $32 for this bottle of olive oil.
She could have went probably in one of those little street vendors size things and got it for cheaper.
Okay.
I'm just saying there's ways around stuff. You're going to have to give up.
Did the Smiley family give you any indication that they would do stuff that wasn't on the up and up?
Well, then
they are strict rule followers.
Well, then they can't complain, can they?
Well, they can't. Well, the person complaining is the husband, not the wife.
Like I said, there's certain things you can do to get around that. Maybe your meat will be touched by more flies than you would like.
You got to get over it, okay?
But
all
you
right.
got to get over it.
Who knows? Who's to say that meat wasn't touched by a gazillion flies before it made it to the refrigerators in America? Who knows?
Exactly.
That was funny. So the wife goes to an open market with their housekeeper, and she is traumatized because she's seeing all this like raw red meat just sitting on counters. Like, there's no refrigeration process. They don't cover nothing. You just see flies and stuff sitting on it. And she's like, this is insane. Absolutely not. Why would we do this? She's overwhelmed by the smell and the busyness. And she's just like, oh my gosh, this is so much. The other thing we find out is that, like I said, she likes the luxury life. So she's also found like boutiques to get like couture outfits done. Couture outfits are when they're literally sewn to your body, when they are measured and fitted for you exactly. And those usually don't come cheap at all. Even African print that she was donning, none of that is cheap. And she loves it. She likes the lavish life. And then we find out that in her history, she actually made more money than her husband for a bit, than Gabe. She was working in the medicine field, looking at, well, do you remember what it was? She was doing
organ something.
Yeah, organ transfer. She helped organize organ transfer. And they went from a 2-income household to just Gabe now, working in Zambia. Mind you, this was Gabe's idea, but whatever. Anyway, so now
Gabe's a little bitch.
Listen, previous to this episode, they were talking about how much cheaper Zambia was than America. That's why they could afford this house helper. That's why they could do all this other stuff. But now all of us, and they just went to a resort. We just saw them go to 2 resorts. They went to that luxury camping spot that was technically off season. And then they went to a resort. Anyway,
I think I figured out why she's with Gabe though.
Interesting. So now Gabe is feeling the pinch. He's saying that they are spending way more than they are making. He's not comfortable with it. And his wife's kind of just rolling her eyes. She's kind of like, whatever, man.
And I think that's why she was Gabe, because she can dominate him when she really wants to.
I don't know, because he gets real staunch about her working. So
Whatever.
then we see Gabe golfing with his friend, because we know golf is cheap. Golf is one of the cheapest sports. It is not. It's super expensive. So he's golfing with his friend, complaining about the fact that he doesn't have this other income.
That expensive over there. Half of that shit didn't even have greens. There was like missing grass and
clubs are still expensive. He had his own club and caddy. That still costs. For somebody who said that they can't be spending all this money, golf is a heck of a sport to pick up.
Okay.
I don't care where you are.
I think he picked it up in the States. He had all this stuff already. He took it to Zambia.
Interesting. You don't think it's a little hypocritical that he's over there at the golf course complaining that his wife is not working?
Oh yes, it's very hypocritical. I didn't say what he was doing was right. I never said that.
Okay, anyway. Elaine is tired of hearing his mouth, basically. So she's like, all right, let me get to this, let me hit the streets and start handing out this resume looking for jobs.
I think it was more about her being tired of being cooped up in the house.
Okay.
Because it seems to me, I think she does what she wants to do, period. And I think he just pretends like he's, but it's nothing he can do.
I'm going to bookmark that because, so she goes around with her resume trying to get her foot in the door. We find out from our actual expat family, who was supposed to be the fourth family, but they are not making it into this season, that working in Ghana is incredibly difficult. First of all, everybody is highly educated. Education over there is not like it is over here in America, where it costs your entire body and organs. You can get great education over there relatively free. So they're like, we have engineers that are delivering our mail and like working these menial jobs because there's not a lot of opportunity out that way for jobs. So if you don't already know somebody in the field that you're trying to get into or already have that job secured before you got there in the first place, it's going to be really difficult for you to find a job, let alone a job that's going to pay you what you were making in the States. Give up that dream. So, but clearly nobody did research in the Smiley family or any of these families. So she's just, I haven't seen somebody walk door to door with a resume since like the 80s. I was confused why she wasn't taking an online approach with this at all.
I'm pretty sure they don't have online things like that.
You don't think there's websites for them to try to apply for jobs?
What company? With what thing? Maybe the government. That's about it.
Okay. You don't think? Well,
no, I don't.
Because so the place she drops off her resume at, that first place, see, like it made a lot of money. It had a security fence and the guard.
I guarantee you that was some type of government thing.
Okay. So she's trying to go that route. It's not really successful, but she does get in touch through a friend with a volunteer organization group that has nothing to do with her work history whatsoever. They volunteer with teens, basically, for the area. And it's mostly to kind of help these teens get off the street. Again, this not a lot of opportunity out that way. So it's to celebrate their culture and kind of stay off the streets. And it's a volunteer position, so she's not getting paid. But she seems like she's enjoying herself. She's hoping that by divesting her time with the volunteer organization, they will take her on full time and eventually pay her, is her hope. When she has a conversation with Gabe about it, they make it look like it's later in the day, but I think it was in the early morning because she's in the same outfit before it's dirty. He's given her a hard time about saying yes to this volunteer gig, like a really hard time. He's like, we need to make money. We need to bring in another income. Volunteering isn't going to pay the bills. And she's like, I have to start somewhere. I got to start somewhere. I got to do what I got to do, make these connections, maybe network my way into a paying gig because I can't just find a job off bat that's paying right now where we're at. And he doesn't like it. He keeps fighting her on it to the point where like she gets upset with him and is like, I'm done talking about this. I don't want to keep talking about this. And then she passes out. So, she had a great day.
Sounds like to me a guy who's been settled and enjoys not being the breadwinner.
Okay.
Sounds like he.
Oh, he was used to the comfort of
Yes.
having that extra money,
Yeah.
and now it's all on him, and he's like, "This is too much."
Yes.
I get you. I get you.
So now he's a little perturbed,
Interesting.
and I think she liked it that way too.
I think she liked having the job, but we've heard her say
I
more than once that when it came to taking care of the family, Gabe just relied on her to do everything. So I think they're in a situation where now Gabe has taken on more responsibility. Like you said, he's taken on more than he used to previously, and he's like, "No, no, I can't. Absolutely not. Let's go back
and
to the way it was."
I think she likes it like that because
I don't know that she does.
I think she does. 'Cause
Because she was really enjoying just being a stay-at-home mom.
no, I think she likes the other way.
I
'Cause
don't know.
she could have stayed at home and do the job she was doing. That's what it sounds like. The job she had was
It
could
wasn't
be,
remote. She had to travel.
but she got to work from home at least some of the time.
No.
Yeah, 'cause she was still a stay-at-home mom.
No,
Kinda,
she
so
became a stay-at-home mom when they were formalizing the move. She had to quit her that's why she had to quit her job.
okay.
Because if she could work remote, they would've worked something out. But she deals with
She's going
transportation.
overseas.
Where I'm working right now, do you know how many people live overseas and work?
That's because they're
They're not at
doing
embassies and they're not at bases.
okay. Because you don't think they're okay. Sure,
What?
I'm not gonna argue with you. You're
What?
right. You're right. You're right. Anywho, I just think she. I don't know. Whatever. Sure. Moving on to the
In
next family.
in my opinion, I think she liked having the helper and being able to have time that was devoted just for her. We see her go on like kind of like a looky-loo around the area. She goes to the local mall, she checks out some places and stuff, and they talk about how she likes luxury, but she had the money to back it. And Gabe's main complaint for this episode is that she's spending like they still have that money, but they don't have that money.
I don't think she's spending like they still have that
I
money.
agree. But whatever. Anyway. But then yeah, she does her volunteer. She passes out. She has to go to the hospital. And it turns out having medical care there, A, is cheaper than the US, which is great. And also it's superior class. It's US rated. So she was taken care of. They gave her some B12 fluids. They ran all of these tests on her. In the US, that would easily be over $1,000 to do. And the expat family that they do the little interview with, the little confessional for, is like, it was like chump change after all after all of that. This man had a major surgery, got the bill, and it was still less than $100. I was like, well, that's great. That's wonderful.
If I think she passed out. 'Cause she don't like being outside.
I think she passed out because she wasn't taking care of herself. I don't think she was drinking because she was like, I need to drink some water. I don't think she was drinking water. I
First of
don't think
all,
she attributed all the black she was wearing in the heat
no.
of Africa and passed out.
I think she's overly stressed.
I agree.
So I think that was the big reason she passed out.
I agree. Okay, next, like you said, next family, Davis family. This is Julie, the single mom who brought all of her children with her to Accra, Ghana, so that they could start over with a fresh slate. She feels like being in Accra is going to bring them all closer to their heritage, and honestly, just kind of like envelop them in a different level of blackness than they were experiencing in the States, which to a degree is true. So her twins are having a hard time adjusting to life in Ghana. Now that their older brother is there, her eldest has finally arrived. She sends the boys out to like explore Ghana together, basically. And mostly that what we see is the older brother telling his siblings, like, listen, it's a good thing to get out of the US to gain a more worldly, perspective. Be in another culture, immerse yourself in another culture, get some experience with our actual heritage, because US is not going to teach us none of that. But he also really presses to support mom. Like above everything else, it's support mom. And he talks about how like this is very typical of his mom to move her family. He's like, I've been all around the United States with her. She's moved us from New York to Chicago to Los Angeles to Florida and back. This is not uncommon. And now we're in Accra, Ghana, and we're just gonna support. To me, that sounds a little crazy. But whatever, that's me. After all of that, she decides to get her family on a bus tour of Ghana. and it does not go well. So they go on this bus tour, and at first they're like, "Oh, sights," and then they're like, "Oh, we're hitting traffic." And for whatever reason, this woman was under the impression that Ghana did not have traffic. So she's a little shocked about why she left one place that's known for its traffic to be in another place that's also has a lot of traffic. The craziest complaint. Then they travel through Jamestown, and because of the traffic, they can't really move can't move that fast. So they witness this disruption that's kind of happening out on the streets. These guys are in an argument, and it kind of gets into like a physical and verbal altercation. Her daughter starts freaking out and crying. She's like, I did not realize I was throwing my family in the midst of this. I really thought we were getting away from a lot of this. And again, I'm like, how is that possible? You're in a city. I don't understand what you think is happening. They make their way to the coast, to the beach areas of Accra, and apparently there's a huge smell happening. Because apparently there's a sewage issue that happens out that way, where it's just being dumped on the beach and into the ocean. Open. There's no filtration process in place or anything. It's just contaminating everything. But we also see all these fishing boats. So I'm confused on how that's working. When you have open sewage touching so much stuff, why would we also fish? I don't understand. But they are. You don't got nothing to add?
What do you want me to say about that? Those fish probably are nuclear active. They probably got 6 eyes and 6 toes. They probably walk. I don't know.
According to the internet, most of the sewage generated by Accra's nearly 4 million people goes untreated. So it's literally human waste that's just building up and piling up and contaminating everything. It's led to flies spreading cholera and several other diseases, and water that's being used by the city's poorest residents to be contaminated, as well as local seafood. So I'm like, well, again, why are we fishing? So anyway, so she sees all that, and she's like, I don't know that I could stay around a place that has this much of a smell. I couldn't do it. And it's like, okay. Then they make their way to a castle. They go and visit a castle in Accra that's known as what used to be the headquarters for the slave trade. Wonderful. And they take a tour. They get to see where people were held when they were ripped from their families. These windowless bunkers. They called them the dungeons. There was a men's quarters and a women's quarters, and it's them kind of reconnecting to their ancestral past while also looking forward to the future. Would you go visit something like that?
Sure, why not?
Very interesting. So I was watching the expat couple talk about that scene, and they said they were watching it with other Ghanaian residents, and they were saying the spectrum of reaction to that was quite varied. Like if you were an American expat watching it with them, you kind of were on the same page as them because they're from Texas. You're on the same page as them. It's like, okay, so we're kind of seeing where our history as Americans was originated and how we feel about that, how it's like a dark history. But for a lot of the Ghanaian people that was watching it, they said they felt shame. And it was this perspective of like, we come from the generations of families that stayed behind, that didn't go on those ships, and what is our relation to all these people that were stolen and abducted? Did our families help in that? Did they aid in that in some way? Did they not do enough to stop it from happening in the first place? So there's like a level of shame for some. And for others, there's just this complete disconnect. They've never visited the castle. They're not very interested in the history of it because they don't see it as a part of them at all. It's just whatever. It was very interesting. Because I know for Americans, it'd be a big deal. But I could understand the perspective of like, that's not a history that's necessarily tied to my people. So I could see how it's not a big deal for them.
Okay. I don't know. It'd just be too emotional.
Who's too emotional?
It'd just be too much.
To go visit?
Yeah. You guys get yourself emotionally prepared for something like that. Because you're going to feel some type of way.
As an American, yeah. An American going.
As a black person in general.
That's what I just said. The black people, the Ghanaians, there were some that had zero connection to it. They didn't have any emotions.
I guarantee if they go there, it'd be different.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it speaks to a lot of perspectives we see in the States from people who are from countries in Africa. They don't have any ties to that history.
A
And
lot
they
of
and
those
some of them look down on us for having ties to that history.
because they themselves don't want to know.
I agree. It's painful.
So that's it. That's all I'm saying. That's
Very
it. If
interesting.
they go, it'll be different.
Yeah.
They just don't want to. They don't want to know
Right.
because they don't want to know if their families help get people or traded their freedom for another family's freedom,
Yeah.
or why didn't you fight for your people?
Yeah.
You know. But then if y'all fought, maybe I wouldn't be here right now. So who
Right.
knows? Whatever.
It's very interesting. But yeah, so that's what's happening there. A lot of these families are realizing the realities of actually living in the country they're living in. Some of them are like, well, we're just going to make the best of it and keep trying. Others are like, ugh, we're going to have to make some major adjustments. And our last family is like, was this a good choice? Should we move again? So, who do you think's ultimately going to stay? I think the Smiley family is ultimately going to stay.
They
And
have
I
to.
think maybe the comedy family.
They
I don't
have
see
to.
the comedy family staying though.
They have to finish their school year, or whatever that thing.
Hmm.
They're all gonna leave.
Okay, you don't think nobody's staying there?
No,
Okay, that makes sense. So okay, so all that's it. That's all we got for Coming to America or Worth the Watch. You want to move into Love After Lockup?
yeah.
Do you want to bring it in now?
Um. So, what do you want to start with?
We can start at the top of that list, Soraya, or you want to save them for later?
I would start with Ryan Troy.
Okay.
So, Love After Lockup. Ryan Troy. So we pick up again at the house at the apartment. Her still yelling like
Mhm.
she ain't got no goddamn sense, and his dumb ass standing there.
Oh Lord.
Whatever. Look at me, Zariah. Don't look at me. Put your ring back on. Put your ring back on. You ain't got but 2 words to yell at me. As a matter of fact, if you make a sound and you sound like you yelling at me, I'd have left. And I'd have been in Buffalo. My mom would have called, where you at? I'm in Buffalo. How'd you get to Buffalo? I don't know. I walked. That's how I got to Buffalo. But, so she's yelling at the dude like he's a kid. And he's apologizing for nothing. At all. Nothing.
Not nothing. He's apologizing for leaving the house.
Why? You told me to get out. So why would I apologize for something you told me to do? You literally told me to get out. Don't come back. We're done. And now he's just, the Troy thing is looking from his mom and her. They're this his wife and his mom are the same person.
Okay.
They are.
You mean like emotional temperament? They have similar emotional temperaments.
They're the same person.
Okay.
They are.
I don't know. Zariah's raising her son. His mother did not do that.
Okay. She has one character
Similar
flaw.
emotional temperaments, sure.
She has one different character flaw than his mom, but they're literally the same person.
Okay.
She's messy. His mom's messy. She's loud. His mom's loud. His mom doesn't care who she disrespects as long as she gets away. She doesn't care who she disrespects as long as she gets away.
Emotional temperaments.
So he's apologizing for her.
To her, not for her.
She's the one who cheated.
He doesn't apologize that she cheated. He apologizes that he left the house.
Which makes no sense to me. So then finally, I guess she goes, okay, whatever. Now they're on their way to Syracuse. To Buffalo. They get to Buffalo. His sister hugs him. His cousin hugs him. They're there getting everything together. They're talking, getting reacquainted again. Zariah talks to his sister. And his sister's like, we would rather him be in Buffalo where he's their family. Because she walked off and we didn't know where he was. We thought something happened or whatever.
Well, they want him to have support. He doesn't have, again, people that know him around him in Syracuse at all.
So so finally the baby mother pulls up, but then that's where they ended.
So, what did you think about Zariah's complaint that he's not sticking up for her when it comes to
Siobhan,
the
she
baby mother?
has no complaint.
She did.
No, she doesn't.
That's what she was screaming at him in the bedroom for.
For
You didn't
some,
let me act crazy on TV. You didn't see that whole part.
no, I didn't let you make you act crazy on TV. You made yourself look crazy on TV.
I was astounded that in her head, the way that things have transpired is that Yana and his mom have been talking about her apparently badly, and he's done nothing. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you like? We still haven't seen Yana have a conversation with Zariah yet. That hasn't it hasn't happened at all.
And if you ask me, the answer to that question is you wouldn't know none of that bullshit if you never brought my mom here.
Correct. You would have had a nice time with just me. All of my attention would have been just on you. Correct. But you wanted this madness. You decided to bring my mother for whatever reason.
Exactly. That's my whole point. You put yourself in this chaos.
But I feel like she still would have blown up with him about the whole visiting his daughter business. Like, for whatever reason, she has it. And maybe it's just stuff we haven't seen yet. Maybe Yana really is giving her the business end of stuff.
Stop. Like I said, I think then I would give her the benefit of a doubt.
Uh-huh. So they're online saying that they've been painted in a bad edit, basically. They're not showing everything.
Is it them or is it him just being like, sure, what she said?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's just him being like, what she said.
I don't know. But the point is they're still together. So that's the other point. This was filmed a year ago.
I'm not shocked they're still together. They're still together because Troy wants to be with her.
Uh-huh.
That's why they're still together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shocked by that.
This animosity she has towards this baby mama, I'm sure it doesn't come out of nowhere. I just don't know how helpful it is. Like, how helpful is it to you to stay this stressed?
I don't think... A little bit of me wants to believe it's for the show.
Okay.
Because even the show does shicey stuff where they'll show you something.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, well, damn, that's why they upset.
Mm-hmm.
The show hasn't...
The show picks and chooses. Yeah, a lot of elements of the story.
I don't think he is
invested in that girl like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, because he tells her, why are you so bothered by somebody I'm not into at all? What is happening?
That's my thing. Unless she can show us text messages with him and her, then I'm like, okay, well, he's the reason she was crazy.
I don't know. Clearly she's insecure about the relationship, like quite clearly. Clearly she is upset and insecure. And and she's the one that cheated. I could see how she's projecting this uncertainty.
And that's my problem. Don't project your BS on me.
Mm-hmm.
Because either one or two things gonna happen. I'm gonna leave.
I think that's the only one thing. I don't know what the other thing is gonna be.
Or I'm gonna cheat and then leave.
Not really two things, but okay.
But
for whatever reason, Troy is like,
those things gonna be me leaving.
I mean, I'll stick it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't. Bless be to him or whatever. God bless him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a better man than me.
Is he? Does that mean you're better? Does it mean that? I don't know. Does it mean you're just more willing to be somebody's doormat? I got a lot of questions. So, moving on to Kim and Joey.
I don't understand why we're still here. I honestly don't.
Talk about people cheating. Okay, like just as a reminder, Kim and Joey relationship started with her being the other woman. Back when they were teenagers, Joey was actively cheating on her cousin with Kim. And Kim just kept it quiet and enjoyed her time.
Then fast forward, he became the other man.
While in prison. While in prison. She's fully married to somebody else. Starts talking to him through the prison hotline. And then cheats on her husband with Joey. Very weird. But now she's so here's the other thing. Did she ever get her formal divorce? I thought they were still separated. When the season started, she was trying to get this divorce. Now she's talking about engagement parties and weddings.
Who cares?
Is she even formally divorced?
And that's why she's air tagging everything.
Oh my God, all the tiles. Anyway.
No.
So she's still reeling from the rim debacle that he went and bought these $2,000 rings.
Is she really, or is she?
I think it's another point of contention that she can use against him, like weaponize against him with the money. So she's mad that he's spending money that they don't got.
Is it working?
Even though she later says that she herself spent $2,000 on their engagement party.
Is it working? That's what I'm asking. Is it working?
Nothing's working. Because then we find out later when she was out with her friends, she got what was it, Facebook? She had like a Facebook
friend request
notification. Yeah, saying that she had a friend request. And the friend request was from his ex that they both know of.
That's from Tom. And then Tom's like, hey, do you know this girl? She wants to friend request with you too.
Who's Tom? Anyway.
Tom is the one guy that always pops up on everybody.
That's MySpace, Calvin. That's not Facebook.
Tom is MySpace?
Yes.
It's a dude on Facebook that does the same thing too.
There is no dude on Facebook.
Okay.
You famously told me you don't know anything about Facebook. So what are you talking about?
Well, then you're correct. Then I got
MySpace
so and Facebook messed up.
Anywho, she gets a notification from Facebook that there's a friend request. That friend request is Joey's ex. Joey's like, I don't know why she's trying to be friends with you. That's crazy. She's like, are you still talking to your ex? And he's like, yeah. I mean, she's hit me up a couple times or whatever, but I told her that nothing's gonna happen. She's like, why are you engaging in conversation with this with this person? Apparently, this lady has been trying to get in between them, and I'm further confused. But okay, because Joey's story is that this lady went ghost. He hasn't heard from her until he got out. But according to Kim, this lady has stayed up in their business this entire time. So which is it? Or has she just been bothering Kim? I don't know. So anyway.
Sounds like Joey knows how to pick them. Picks females that nobody else wants.
Lord. Who fight over him. So they get into it. They get into an argument. She's like, between you spending the money we don't got and this lady, this ex that you might be moving in, I feel like you trying to step out, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, well, I am going to step out. He leaves and takes a drive. And then on the drive, we find out that he's going to head over to his ex's place. He's like, I got to sometimes, or no, you said sometimes you got to tell people in person. And he says, yeah, I think I just got to tell her in person that it's done. But let's rewind back. When Joey was with his boys, they said that his go-to was to cheat immediately. Like as soon as he got the freedom to do so, he was cheating. So him talking to this ex, who his friends even said he had no business talking to, highly suspicious. Highly suspicious. And now he's going to go see her in person to tell her it's done. I don't believe that he's going over there just to talk. But whatever. Calvin disagrees. He thinks he is.
I didn't say anything.
You said sometimes people got to talk to them in person.
Yeah, I said that. That doesn't mean that's what he's going to do.
Okay.
I was just saying in general, sometimes you got to talk to people in person to get them to get the message.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this fool's about to do. If you ask me.
Does he have a license? I got so many questions.
If you ask me, this fool about to get himself in trouble. If you ask me.
He also dresses like he's from 2001.
Secondly, they're not at her house. They're in a random rainy day, on a rainy day at the park.
Oh, no. He asked her to meet him at a park. Yes.
So hopefully this fool don't do nothing on camera that gets us.
You don't think he's going to pull a true and like sneak off to her car? Leave in her car to her place? There's options.
Once again, I said, I don't know what this fool going to do.
Do you think he'll stay faithful?
I have no idea. All bets are off.
I want to know what cost you $2,000 for this engagement party. What did you rent a venue?
No, Javon.
Did you get catering?
Food. I'm pretty sure she paid for the food. She paid for to make the decorations and stuff.
The decor.
Yeah.
Maybe it just speaks to my blue collar upbringing because we could have a nice little party for a cool $150. We could go to the apartment rec room that somebody got, and all it takes for that deposit is a nice $50. You get it for the whole day. You can get your own decor. You can hit your local Dollar Tree. Get you decor. Food, potluck. Everybody was cooking something and they brought it. So to me, that is outlandish. $2,000? That's outlandish
I'm
to me.
pretty sure she went to Party City to get her stuff.
Even Party City is not $2,000 worth of stuff. All those balloons I got you for your 40th birthday, that wasn't even $100.
Well, apparently, she has a higher class of
decor
than you. I don't know what to tell you, but
that's what I'm saying.
That's what she said.
It also makes me wonder, like, if we ever did host something, ooh, people gonna talk about us. So yeah,
I'm not worried about hosting anything. You don't want nobody in your house.
that's so true.
So
But if we ever did,
worry about that.
They probably would talk about us because I would not be like, well, let me drop all this money.
Like I said, it'll never happen, so I'm not worried about it. I'm not gonna waste my time worrying about something I know that's never gonna happen.
So it never come to fruition.
That's why I don't have migraines or headaches that often, because I don't worry about things that I know is not gonna happen.
Okay. Anyway, so we leave it at that. He's on his way to meet this lady at the park. Will she show up? Will she not? Will this be the end of things? Probably not. So that's what's going on. Shante and True. I'm not gonna lie. I was on Shantae's side, but she keeps saying stuff that make me want to go, girl, why?
I've never been on Shantae's side.
Okay. You were on True's side this whole time?
I haven't been on nobody's side.
Oh, okay.
I've been on the side of this is stupid. That's the side I'm on.
So, True has Shante follow him to his probation officer's place because he did violate his parole. So he's hoping he doesn't get locked back up because of it, but he's preparing for the worst. So he's like, just in case they decide to put me back in prison, I need you to take care of my car. So he has Shante following him so that she could pick up his car and take care of it. Yada, yada, yada. He goes in to probation and comes back out and finds out he's only going to get house arrest. So the violation that occurred was that the residency he listed that he was going to be paroling to is not where he's actually staying at, because it's supposed to be with Shante, and then they broke up.
Lord have mercy.
So now he's like, all right, I gave him a new address. I'm going to be staying with this girl named Pepper, and we're going to make it work.
No, we didn't make that up. Her name is Pepper.
Yep, her name is Pepper.
But she looks like salt.
We haven't seen her. We don't know what she looked like. We saw Kels.
That's not Pepper?
No. Nope. They stopped. They ended it before they went into the house. We haven't got a chance to see Pepper. She probably does look like salt.
Oh my gosh.
So
now I'm confused.
That was Kels. So
what was the whole point of Kels?
Basically, one, to show that there's more people in True's corner that kind of help facilitate his insanity. And two, I think it's the show's petty way of showcasing how like True sister, how true of a statement True's sister made, and that he only likes messing with white women. Because she made the statement, my brothers only date white women. Brothers, plural. Kels is the wife of one of his brothers who's currently serving time.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's the show's petty way of being like, get it? See? So
no, I
also his baby mama's is white, so I'm sure it's
I think it's the show's way of showing that he's hanging around people that are not going to hold him accountable and are going to help perpetuate
the choices he makes. Oh
yeah, that's it.
So he takes Shante to a restaurant where they meet up with Kels, and Shante doesn't know who Kels is because she hasn't really heard about this person. But it turns out Kels is the sister-in-law. She is married to True's brother, who's in jail right now. And apparently he says, I'm going to have you do a bunch of runs for me, Kels. So she's like his business partner of some sort. And she's like, I'm sure you will. And Shantae's just feeling away. In Shantae's mind, the house arrest, the fact that he's staying at Pepper's place, True's going to continue to hurt her. He's going to continue to do what he want to do, not be monogamous, whatever relationship they're working on. She kind of feels like she's being made fool of again. or setting herself up to be a fool again.
Sounds to me like Kel's got a gambling problem, probably.
I don't even know. So anyway,
Sound like they is
when he
gambling
said,
stuff.
I'm going to have you do a few runs, it made it sound like she runs the business side of stuff, not necessarily the
First of
casino.
all, it sounds like drugs.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the casino.
Let's just start there. Sounds like casino. He might be like, I need you to probably put down a bet for me. That's what I'm hoping it is.
I think it's drugs.
But
So
there's no way they're talking about drugs live on TV like that.
I don't. People have done very interesting things live on TV.
I don't think.
This is the same series that's had more than one person go away from murder. This is that same series. After they were filmed.
I'm pretty sure if you look at a lot of shows, they probably had some people go away from murder.
I'm just saying they've had a lot. So
because they deal with criminals.
Exactly.
Should have a higher
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't put it past this show to fully show people doing criminal acts on a show. I wouldn't put it past it at all.
Sure.
So, True is saying all this. He's talking about his plans about living with Pepper. Shantae's like, who's Pepper? Pepper is Kel's friend. That's her bestie who's going to help out True. This makes me ask a gazillion questions. 1, why didn't True ask to stay at Shantae's? 2, why isn't he staying with Kel's? 3, why Pepper? And why did Pepper say, yeah, that's cool. This stranger can live with me? I have a lot of questions.
I think Pepper's related somehow.
Okay. You think she's somehow a family member and best friends with Kel's? Because that's how they introduced her. She's Kel's best friend. That's how they introduced it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting.
She's some type of family member.
Shantae also poses that question in her confessional of like, if True wanted to stay with me, he could have filed the paperwork to stay at my place, but he didn't. He chose to do it at Pepper's. She's like, I don't know what this means for us moving forward because he's technically 5 hours away from her. He's not close by. So Kels also brings this up at the restaurant. She's like, so what are y'all two? Shantae says we're in a situationship. You know, she's pregnant with his twins. She excuses herself to go to the bathroom, and Kel's talking to True. And she's like, how are you going to work on your relationship with Shantae with you being on house arrest? And he's like, oh, yeah, Shantae's going to come down. She's going to move her medical appointments down my way. And I'm going to see her a lot. And it's Kel's being like, how's that going to work? Especially if you can't leave the house. You can't leave the house to go to her appointments with her. And what if she gets tired of traveling back and forth? And he goes, oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, I don't know. What? But also Shantae being like, him being on house arrest is basically him being in prison, essentially to her. It's him being in prison again for 2 years. Girl, do you want this man or do you not want this man? What's happening right now? What are you talking about? You are giving him grief. Your best friend was grilling him for you, talking about all of the stuff that he does not bring to the table for you. That would just add to your stress. And you're still hemming and hawing about whether or not you want to be with this man? Why?
Why are you listening to anything she says?
We know ultimately they stay together. They're all over their social media, coupled up. So ultimately they stay together. Have we seen these twins though? No. So who knows? But that's the storyline they got going right now. You want to talk about Letitia and Keith?
Sure.
It's short. Letitia is dealing with the aftermath of one, maybe getting played by who was the person they hired? Paralegal. Maybe getting played by the paralegal about whether or not Keith could get out early, but also sharing that news with her girls. She tells the girls Keith is ultimately not getting out super early. It turns out, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. He's going to have to serve more time on his sentence. The eldest daughter is like, okay. Her youngest daughter is crushed. She is in tears. She is upset because she had high hopes about seeing Keith. And I don't know what Letitia's been telling this girl, but this girl is like very invested in Keith and him coming out. A person she's not met. So then she lets it slip that on top of the Keith stuff, they're going to have to move soon. And her eldest daughter picks up on that and goes, we're moving. We find out, it's reiterated. Apparently, the people that own the house have not been keeping up their end of actually paying the mortgage on that house. So Letitia, who's the leasee, will have to move because she's essentially being evicted. Do I think that that's what's happening? No, I think Letitia just stopped making some payments, but whatever. Anywho, so she tells the girls, we're going to have to move And it's gonna have to be a big move because they gotta go stay with family and friends. They don't say why they gotta stay with family and friends. If you follow the gossip, you know why they gotta stay with family and friends. But for the show, it just sounds like she's like, "Well, I'm just thinking clean slate for everybody. We'll just have a new clean slate." She makes it a point to say that she's never moved the girls away from their school. So if they did move around, it still stayed local to the area, so the girls could still go to school. Plus, her eldest, that person's father, is in that area, so it's worked out. But now they're gonna have to make this big move with family and friends, which is not anywhere in the Midwest whatsoever. Now her eldest is upset. Her youngest daughter doesn't care about the move, is more upset about Keith. And they end it with, "Well, let's just eat some ice cream." So, if you follow the gossip, Letitia's facing a lot of serious indictments about her business and her taxes and what she did or did not pay. That is what would result in this move and why they'd have to stay with family and friends because she can't afford to be somewhere else. Because one, her business is no longer. Two, she owes a lot of money on that business. And three, she might have to serve her own sort of time, whether that's fines or probation or actual prison time. That's what's happening in the real world. So, what did you think?
Sad.
Okay.
Feel bad for the little girl. The
Mhm.
oldest only cares about the move, which I
I
understand.
felt bad for both girls.
Whatever.
I feel like part of the reason that eldest is numb is she's had to deal with her mother's choices. She actually understands a little bit more about the ramifications of these choices. The little one has no idea.
Yeah, but it's just sad.
It's not great.
Mm.
So they're dealing with that. And then we got Hope and Arthur, Calvin's favorite couple.
Nope.
Go ahead and talk about Hope and Arthur.
But so Hope meets her sisters at a restaurant. Finally tells them about Arthur. They start grilling her because apparently she sucks at picking dudes.
Oh, majorly. Their first question was, how abusive is he? Has he broken any windows yet?
Per usual, as is everybody's family members in the show. And then they do dinner, and the grandparents show up too. So now Arthur comes up, and now Arthur's meeting the sisters and the grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
He walks up, the granddad looks up and like, yeah.
What did you think of the conversations they were having before Arthur got there?
What a conversation.
Hope telling her sisters that Arthur is not working and living off of her. He just got out of prison. And then eventually telling the grandparents that same story as well. Like not really saying a whole lot of positives. And then Arthur shows up.
But let me say, she's stupid.
Well,
that's pretty much all you can say. That and this public service announcement.
Okay.
When you're with a significant other and you're talking to your family, watch what the hell you say. Because you're sitting there telling them all the bad. You can't get mad when they don't like them. Okay? So how about you not say anything? Shut up. Or you say just as much good things about the person as you say bad. Or don't say anything at all. Let him introduce themselves and let the family get their assessment from that person from them. But don't start it off on a bad foot and then get upset when they're grilling him because after you don't told him all the crazy stuff he's done.
Yeah.
So that's my public service announcement on that.
Because, yeah, they grill Arthur. And when he finally makes it there, it's grilling season.
Then you wonder why none of your family members want that dude at the barbecue or want that chick at the barbecue and won't let her serve the food or anything. Because you done said so much crazy, messed up stuff about the person.
I didn't like that they threw his mental health crisis at him. You had a mental breakdown.
I don't think she
yada,
threw
yada.
it at him.
It kind of, to me, it felt weaponized.
But you had a mental breakdown. My sister was in danger. Let's not act like she wasn't in danger.
But you also know your sister. Like, you also know your sister.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Sometimes blood is thicker than water.
But my thing is, you really can't control your mental break. Like when you have a mental health crisis, it's not anything anybody can control.
I understand that, but they're just asking questions. And if she didn't want them to bring it up, she shouldn't have told them.
Agreed.
So once again, I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
So, yeah.
But they very much gave me the impression of like, yeah, we're asking all this stuff, but we also know hope is gonna hope. She's gonna do what she want to do. So we're just hoping for the best.
So
and then
so since we already know she's gonna do what she's gonna do, let's see what we can figure where you're at.
Yeah.
So we need to know if we got to keep our phones near us for 911 or something.
Right.
Crazy, like we had to do in the past.
Right.
That's it. And I'm moving on to Bianca and Daniel.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to talk about Julian and Christine?
Julian and Christine. Julian is upset with Christine because she wants to pursue her
comedy dream. Yeah.
Comedy dream. And he's like, I was hoping you pick up more shifts.
We should reframe this.
Me.
You need to see that this opens up with Julian in cargo shorts, but a work shirt and doing an interview. He is not working. He lost his job. Right now, of the two of them, Christine the only one working. She got her gig being a bareback at a bar. And now she wants to do an open mic. And he is not on board at all. He immediately is like, no. You need to refocus. You need to prioritize. She's like, what is me doing? Oh, the open mic night. Hey, how does that take away from us being able to pay for bills? And he's like, you just need to focus.
Personally, to me, I wasn't too invested in them two talking. I was more invested in the cat. They kept looking out the window every 5 minutes.
For freedom.
Because it seems like the cat heard about they're eating cats and dogs.
and nearby. And he was like,
and he's like,
are they here?
They're here.
I need an escape plan.
It's only a matter of time before they start eating cats and dogs in this house. We're broke.
Hear Julian tell it. We're minutes away.
Exactly. So I'm trying to figure out.
I need refuge. I need backup.
I'm trying to figure out. Look out these streets and make sure nobody out here in these
that
streets.
Neighbor looks nice. Maybe they will take me
when I make this run, I can run to safety or get to freedom or something.
I felt it was mad hypocritical of Julian to like further pressure Christine to look for even more work when he's not working. He's like, we got bills to pay. We've got tuition. We've got child support. None of those are hers.
This is the first time where the inmate got played.
It was crazy.
It's hilarious.
It was crazy.
No, it's not.
You said no, it's not.
No.
Okay. Well, she goes to her open mic night though, and what did you think of her orange jumpsuit? I thought it was clever.
Oh, I didn't pay no mind.
She goes to her open mic night with her. She made friends fast. All her friends from the bar are there. She might have snuck a shot, but we cut it off before we see her take the stage. So hopefully it went okay.
Yeah. Now Bianca and Daniel.
My favorite couple.
Pretty much Bianca
is an idiot. Oh my gosh.
Finishing up talking to the family. Her and the cousin go and have a side conversation at the pool.
No, she calls him out in front of the family, and then they have another conversation at the pool.
They go have a side conversation at the pool. And pretty much the cousin is trying to get her to realize, hey,
you're not thinking clearly.
You might have
blinders on.
Semi-problem with drinking that you're not addressing neither.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he should be there drinking because you don't know how to control yourself drinking. And you're not going to be able to control him if he decides to drink with you.
True.
Or you're not going to be able to stop him because you going to think it's okay. And you're
not going to recognize any signs that he's about to slip from his sobriety. Yeah.
And he's already slipped up in jail.
In a controlled environment where everybody's watching him. He's already relapsed. So
that's the issue. So she's like, whatever, blah, 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 blah. They leave. She go back to her apartment, go to sleep, wake up the next day to get ready.
Because Daniel's being released,
and pick him up at the prison. She's upset that the family's there to pick him up.
She was like, originally it was just supposed to be me and Daniel, and now they have to come. Yeah, bitch, they're his family.
So, and they get there, they're waiting, and that's pretty much where we leave.
No, she gets into another argument. She feels like Daniel does not take her seriously as a fiance. She's like, you keep calling me his girlfriend. I am his fiance. And it's Daniel like, you don't got no ring.
Whatever. That whole
I loved it.
back and forth is irrelevant to me.
I loved it. It was so funny. Plus she was just legitimately, she keeps saying stuff that don't make no sense at all. It's not rational at all. She feels she knows Daniel better than his family. She doesn't want to share him with his family. She doesn't understand why they want to be so up in their business. And it's like, girl, you are living with somebody, A, whose family cares about him, but B, who has addiction issues. And this is a family that's well aware of that. This is a family that's very aware of that and how tenuous it is of a relationship that he has with his sobriety. And they're with somebody who's like, I'm not going to stop drinking around him. I don't care that he has these addiction issues. He should be fine to handle it by himself, who clearly has no idea how addiction works at all, nor wants to know, apparently. Doesn't want to do any research on how she could best support this man that she's about to call her husband. Girl, what? And then she has the audacity to be like, well, I sacrificed everything to be with him. No one told you to. Additionally, you don't know that that's going to happen. He's supposed to go to a halfway house when he gets out. You think because he said so, he can stay with you? That's not how the law works. So I'm waiting for that reality to hit, for him to come out and it not go according to plan whatsoever. But we'll see.
Now I'm moving on to 90 Day Fiance. 90 Day the other way. So you wasted too much time with that couple.
There's not much on 90 Day Fiance. I'm not gonna lie. We can do this real quick. I didn't even put notes. Shekinah and Sarper. Go ahead.
Pretty much they're seeing a shrink. That's pretty much it.
They go to couples counseling.
Then before that, he goes to a junkyard and breaks all the bottles that she so much hated him having.
Yeah.
He does all that, burns his black book, and that's still not enough for her.
She's like, I need him to really prove to me before I leave. I'm like, how you're gonna leave soon? What do you think's gonna happen?
When Sarper, whatever, chokes the shit out of her.
Oh my gosh.
It is what it is.
I'm not gonna promote abuse. So anyway.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I'm not. I am not saying that. I don't validate abuse.
Whatever. I'm not validating.
But I am confused as to what she thinks gonna happen in that short time.
I'm just saying this dude is doing a lot fast.
I don't know what she thinks is gonna happen. So, I'm very confused.
Anywho,
but that's pretty much it. Josh and Lily was another couple that was on this episode.
Josh and Lily, pretty much Lily wants some of the D, and Josh
hasn't given it to her.
Is too tired to do it. I don't know. Who knows?
It's been a couple of months now that he's been in China with her as they get ready for their wedding, and he hasn't been intimate with her. And she says in Chinese culture, the men they instigate all of that. It's seen as a bad thing for the women to instigate it. So she's very embarrassed to do so. And he's like,
I want to show you something. The red sheets are for
making love.
Making love time, as you say.
She has this red bedding, which in her culture and in China, they don on the wedding party's bed. It's supposed to signify good luck for the marriage, but also signify that they knock on boots for the marriage.
I would like to get some, how do you say, love boom boom?
This is very racist.
Yes.
This is very racist, what you're doing. This impression is very racist.
I don't think you find me.
Oh my God. I'm just going to keep going. Next couple.
Attractive. She feels he doesn't find her attractive. That's the issue.
And he goes, you're very attractive, but I'm also still not going to give you any. So
I'm sick. And he goes, that's literally what he does. I have a cold. I'm like, you didn't sound like you had a cold the whole time.
We're all confused. We don't know what's happening. We don't know what's going on.
One sniffle does not mean a cold.
No one knows what's going on. She's adorable.
Sounds like you're doing cocaine, if you ask me.
Oh, no. The eye blinking. Absolutely. So, moving on. Stellar and let's see them for last. Joanne and Sean. Joanne has finally told her family that her and Sean have been married for the last 2 years. Surprise.
And the kids are just in shock.
They're elated.
Pretty much.
Actually, no. They're upset.
They're just in shock. That's all. I think it's more shock.
The daughter is like, no, the daughter is not shocked. She is upset.
Yeah, she's pissed because their dad didn't tell her.
Yes. She's like, you're lying. And then she's like, is it true? Wait a second. Is it true? Wait a minute. Oh, no. He's like, you want to go out for a walk? She's like, absolutely not. I don't know. Like, no one knows what to do with this information. because they've been going under the guise that it was leading towards marriage, but they have actually been married for the last 2 years.
And that's the issue. They don't know what to do with the information now. Because now they're like, they thought they were at square one, but they're already at step 5.
Right.
So now they're
like, what are we supposed to do with this?
They've been lied to. And kids say the normal thing. They say, well, I thought we were supposed to keep secrets from each other.
Right. We're supposed to be able to tell each other anything. Yeah.
So, whatever.
So it's a big shock. And it's Joanne being like, oh, I thought they'd be a lot happier for us. No one even said congratulations. And it's like, what?
Well, the friend said congratulations.
She said it like a question, though. That's what she meant. Because she was like, congratulations.
It doesn't matter. She said it. She said no one said it. She said it. And now,
my thing is the audacity to demand it. That I was like, what?
The debacle that is Statler and Dempsey.
Oh, they're still on that ferry.
Statler is still tripping
hard.
Why? Because she's mentally not. Whatever. I don't know.
Statler's argument is that Dempsey is handling things poorly for her. She should know that Statler has anxiety, especially about being on boats. She should know how to handle somebody who's in a panic mode when they're triggered. And she should know that Statler is dealing with a lot of stuff right now, blah, 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 blah. How would she know any of this if it's not communicated to Dempsey at all? Statler makes a mention that she emailed her a bunch of articles are kind of around it. I hope those articles also included that Statler has to take accountability for her own emotions and has to do her own work on how to control and deal with said emotions. Anyway, clearly not, because she's putting all this blame on Dempsey. And like you said last time, Dempsey has hit her limit. She's hit her limit. She's like, I can't wait. I don't know what else you expect of me. You've been complaining nonstop. So she confronts Statler. She left to give Statler some space when Statler was like, I can't handle this right now. She left to give her some space. But then after talking with producers, she's like, let me go give her a piece of my mind. So she heads back out there and confronts Statler. And it's just like, this has been a terrible trip this entire time. I don't think we're on the same page about anything. You've been complaining nonstop.
I don't think we're on the same page about anything.
Is that your accent?
Yeah, I don't think we're on the same page about anything.
What accent is this?
You've been complaining the whole time.
Where do you think Dempsey is from?
British.
British? You know she's Irish.
British.
She's Irish.
I don't think we're on the same page about anything.
What is this accent?
Anyway. You've been complaining the whole time.
Oh my God, you're terrible. Anyway.
Ay, caramba, adios míos.
We end it with this couple, with them kind of at like odds with each other because they're still on the ferry. They're still on the ferry.
You complaining the whole time, Lottie.
So the internet is split right now. There's the faction that's like Statler's the worst. Ugh, for yourself, Dempsey. But there's also people who are like, Dempsey's the problem. Dempsey's not picking up on the context that Statler is laying down, and she's not respecting Statler. I am lost and confused with that viewpoint. I don't understand that perspective.
Statler doesn't know the concepts and things that she's putting down.
For real.
So why would Dempsey understand it?
Are we forgetting that the only reason they have moved as fast as they have is because of Statler? That Statler wanted to move in with them, when we move in together, wanted to do this trip. She said, yes, let's do it tomorrow. Get the stuff ready, get the stuff going. And then as they did that, started dragging her feet, didn't sell her car, worried about moving, complained to her friend about being used, complained to Statler or to Dempsey about being used over and over and over and over and over again. What?
Statler memory changes as much as people blink. Her memory is that long. Her memory is the length of a blink.
Listen, I understand everybody's got their own hangups. They all have their own issues. They have their own mental health issues, baggage, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Everybody does.
And that's coming from a person who don't blink that often.
Everybody has their own stuff that they got to deal with. And I understand that Statler recently came into the understanding about some mental health stuff for herself. But what I don't understand is why she's not being held accountable for taking care of herself.
No, the problem is she learns these new things and she's using them as crutches or the reason for her being the way she is, instead of learning how to cope or deal with it like an
what
adult.
I just said. Why hasn't she been held accountable for not knowing how to take care of her own self? I don't understand. I don't understand. You
I,
can say that you have all these things. What are you doing to mitigate them? What are you doing to take care of yourself with these things?
exactly.
What's in place? What
Exactly.
have you gone and got help for to help you deal with all of this? Nothing? And then you're going to put all that blame on an exterior
No,
person?
the
I
problem
don't
is
understand.
that the issue is she's not even trying
Yeah, that is an issue.
at all.
And she's like, "Why aren't you doing this for me, Dempsey?" And I'm like, "What is happening?"
How am I help you with the issue that you have,
I think the other
which
thing,
I don't know that much about.
if I was a friend in this group, the other thing that would get me would be Dempsey at first attempting to do so. I would be like, "Why are you putting yourself in the fire? Why are you putting yourself in the fire for this?"
I
I don't
wouldn't.
understand.
I wouldn't. This is why I am a not so good friend. At at some point, which is very little, not that much, I don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask me a question, I will answer it as almost
As a like autopilot.
yeah, and almost as a I'm in your head.
Oh.
So if you ask me, I'll be like, "You're gonna do it anyway." So why are you asking me? We're gonna do it anyway. This is what I will do, but what we're gonna do
Mm-hmm.
is we're gonna do this
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna do it anyway.
Uh-huh.
That's why the hell did you ask me?
Right. Right.
Stop asking me questions that you already know the answer to, or the stuff you already know what you're gonna do,
Right.
and you're not gonna take my advice. I'm
At
not gonna
all.
waste my time reiterating stuff to you,
Right. For what? I'm losing breath.
and then I will go have a drink and laugh with you because I don't give two damns. I don't care.
Well, you try to figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was 90 Day the Other Way. Hopefully it's got to be almost done. This is episode 11. It's got to be almost done, right?
I don't know. Gotta be like 2 more episodes.
Maybe 2 or so.
Maybe 3.
Oh, they showed the preview for next week, which is James and Natalia again. I think he's gonna give in and give her a kid. Corona and Inky, who we haven't seen. We saw a preview for them. Maybe things are going a lot smoother than we anticipated, because I was expecting to see a lot of like fighting, and that hasn't happened yet from what the show has shown us.
Because I don't think he's paying her any attention.
I wonder if that's the best way to diffuse the fight. You got one person who's like super angry and mad, and you got another person who could care less. Like, I wonder if that's the best way to diffuse the fight.
You just don't engage.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, you can't argue. At some point, you get tired of yelling at yourself.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because every time she's like almost like hinted, like tiptoed her way to getting real angry, like her normal angry loud. He's just been like, okay, like he hasn't reacted. And I think that also like further infuriates her. But I think, like you said, she can just keep getting mad, but he's literally not matching her energy at all.
You can do what I normally do. I just look at the person and walk off.
Well, I think it's worse to have them just smile in your face. Honestly, I think it's worse that he's just like, okay.
No, I smile in your face. I smile while I'm walking off.
But that's what I mean. He doesn't even leave. It's not even an energy of him being like, I'm done with this. He's just like, okay. Like, that's it.
The leaving part is because I want to go do something.
But then I'm just saying, so far, his reaction has just kind of been to laugh and like been like, "Oh, you!" Like that's been his reaction.
9
to
times
everything.
out of 10, that's kind of what I do. I just look
Hilarious. It just feels very Phil Dunphy of him to be like, "Yeah, I don't know."
Yeah.
Now
you look like a crazy person arguing with yourself.
Right. And he's still happy. Like, it's hilarious.
And
anyway,
then when you calm down, I go, look, it is what it is.
That's too funny. But that was it. That's it for 90 Day the Other Way. What other shows have you chucked out, Calvin?
None. Still trying to do the.
We watched Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. What is it?
Elm Street Murders.
Elm Street.
The
Murders.
real Elm Street Murders.
Also, the Vince McMahon thing, I think, comes out soon.
Can't wait. But listen, that first episode for Elm Street Murders, what a way to kick off the show. I'm in. I'm invested. I'm going to watch the rest of these episodes. In the walls? He was in the walls?
So
the whole time?
So it's like a documentary. So
it is. It's a documentary.
The first episode we saw was this dude who was pretty much, I guess, terrorizing the neighborhood or whatever.
No, it wasn't the neighborhood. It was one girl.
He kind of was terrorizing the neighborhood. Then he met this girl.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Then he met this girl because he was like the bad
How
boy.
was he terrorizing the
He was the
neighborhood?
bad boy of the neighborhood.
But how was he terrorizing them?
Just doing childish stuff, whatever.
Okay.
Because he came from an abusive home. His dad abused him.
Okay.
And then
they said everybody. His mom, his dad, and his worker, his social worker.
His
counselor.
Yeah. Also sexually abused him. So he met this girl. They went out. And I guess he said something, did something weird.
No. They went out, had ice cream.
Something happened to where she was like, yeah, I'm not talking to you anymore.
She just thought he was weird. There wasn't anything necessarily that he did that was weird.
He said or did something because they said what he did or said something. She was like, yeah.
It was afterwards. Because he tried to meet up with her again. And she was like, no, we're not going to date anymore.
That's after the first time she was like, yeah, I'm not talking to you anymore. So then he starts stalking her.
Right.
So she's like, yo, he's stalking me.
No, she doesn't know he's stalking her.
But then somehow this dude breaks into their house.
He kept calling her phone, though.
Kept calling her phone. And somehow he gets into their house.
And lives in her walls.
In their basement, they have like a sidewall where you can kind of slide through.
There's enough space for a human to sideways crab walk.
This dude is now living in that crawl space.
Yes.
Watching them.
Poking holes out of the outlets so that he can spy on them.
So, which they don't know these holes are not. Anywho.
No, they weren't missing. The plugs weren't missing. So he was looking through like the little outlet holes.
Okay.
That's why.
That's even crazier. So.
But then also her mom passes.
So that's what I'm saying. So their mom passed.
Yes. And this is mid 80s. So the satanic panic was still something that was big.
These white girls get the
Ouija board.
Caucasity or Caucasian.
Oh gosh, Caucasity is the word.
Caucasian process to we're gonna get a Ouija board and try to contact our mom.
Yeah.
So now they're in this Ouija board using it, and every time I guess they ask their mom a question, this dude hits the wall.
Yeah, to respond. Yeah, he responds.
So now they're thinking it's their mom.
Well, they don't know a man is living in the walls of their house.
Responding to them in this Ouija board.
But they tell their dad, they're like, we keep getting responses. We think it's mom. And the dad's like, no.
So fast forward.
But then the dad hears it too.
Fast forward, they heard something.
Yeah.
And the dad goes, what the what's that? Oh, these girls,
what is happening?
These girls aren't lying. There's something going on.
But then when they go to investigate the dude bumps out of the walls.
No, they don't. He does nothing.
No, they kidnaps them.
No, that's when they go look for the sound, they find nothing. They leave. They go like to a movie or dinner or something. Mm-hmm. They come back and they see something's like off or something.
Yeah, the pictures were flipped.
And it said the picture said something.
No, that was when the cops came.
Okay, so the first time the pictures were flipped.
Yes.
Like, what the f is going on?
Yes, and then they heard the noise and they went to investigate the noise. And he was there and with his face painted.
Yeah, that's when he was standing in the shadow with his face painted. He grabs the dad and he has them like tied up or whatever.
Yeah, he ties up all of them.
And then somehow one of the girls escaped out the window. Yes. To the neighbors. The cops
get called.
He flees the scene. Whatever. Yes. So I guess a couple of days, the dad and all of them get out. They move. They get out the house.
A year passes. Yeah.
Dad goes back to the house, and he goes back to the house, pulls up, and he sees somebody just standing in the window.
Yeah. Yes.
The dad freaks out, calls the police, said, "The dude.
There's somebody in the house, right?
Someone's in the house. The dude's still here,
right?"
So the cop goes there, pulls up, and he sees the knife with the picture through it.
Yes.
Says, "I'm gonna kill you all."
Yes.
He goes, "Huh, okay." Then he searches the house. Mm-hmm. Kind of searches the house, but he's like, I'm gonna wait for backup. But he's like, I feel someone's here.
Right.
I know someone's here. He was like, so
the story was fantastic.
So
it was crazy.
Fast forward, the cop goes, his partner gets there, they walk through the house.
Yep.
They get down, walk through the house, and they don't find anything. But the cop is standing there, like, I know someone's in this house.
No, because he finds the gun. He finds the shotgun.
He finds all the stuff. He's like,
the only reason I left that house is because he saw my partner.
He heard something upstairs drop.
Yeah.
The dude dropped the shotgun and ran off.
Yeah.
So he thought he ran off.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, someone's in this house.
Yeah.
So his partner comes finally. They go through the house. They They get through, they don't find anything. But he's like, someone's in this goddamn house.
But they couldn't prove it.
They couldn't prove it. So they go down to the basement. They're in the basement walking around, looking around. He goes on the side to his crawl space, and he goes, this is enough space to somebody.
No, that's the next officer. The next officer found that crawl space.
But it's the same dude that was still searching.
No, they went back and forth. So the dude who heard the gun drop was the old guy with the mustache.
Okay.
And then the other cop was the bigger white guy.
Okay.
Because they went back and forth. Because this went on for years.
Okay.
So that's the other fun part.
So
this guy was going and scaring people in that house for years.
So finally, one of the cops was like, wait a minute, this little space right here crawled through. He goes in, he sees all these dirty clothes piled up.
It's like, what the heck?
And then he looks, he sees, I guess, an arm or hair.
Yeah, sticking out of the clothes.
He's like, don't move. Slowly show me your hands.
Yeah.
And the dude shows him hands. Basically, the dude.
But that cop was investigating a different murder. That was the other part. We kicked off the episode with the murder of a mom who was pregnant and her 2 children on this house on Elm Street. The dad comes home and his family is dead. And he's like, what? And then they're like, we think it's a guy we already have in custody. Because that dude was in custody for something else.
Yeah.
They think it's this dude because he had history with that house and he didn't live far away from that house.
Yeah, he had history. Yeah.
Oh, because he was in prison for kidnapping the other people. So it turned out that he had just been going back and forth to that house this entire time. Yeah. Different families had lived in that house in the duration of that, and he had been torturing them. So it was that first family with the daughter that he went on the date with. They moved because they're like, I'm never going to feel safe in this house again.
Okay, yeah.
And then the new family came in, and for whatever reason, he took it up a notch and was like, let's murder some people. Killed the mom and the babies.
Yeah, so they found him in the house, boom, and he was pretty much in the crawl spaces.
Yeah, and he had been moving around the walls. That's how he'd been spying on people and making his plans.
So, yeah.
It was, and that was the first episode.
That was the first episode. Because I even told her, I'm like, I guarantee he's in the walls. I guarantee he's
because
in the
it was
walls.
like, how is he getting in the house? How are they seeing him and they don't know where he went? What is happening?
And I'm like, somehow he's getting in the walls.
It was a good doc. If you watch Real Murders, the real creepy thing though is that this is all happening on Elm Street. Literally, the street is named Elm. On
the streets in different places in America, that's called Elm Street.
Yeah,
there's so many Elm Streets just like there's a lot of Martin Luther King Boulevards. But yeah,
but the fact that there's also all these murders that took place
on Elm Street. So and when they did all the connection to what he was doing, everything connected to Elm Street.
Yes, over and over and over.
Different Elm Street in that same area.
So creepy.
It was crazy.
It was great. It was great. I also watched The Golden Bachelorette and Agatha All Along. Golden Bachelorette is about to be good. That lady's from here. She's from Chantilly.
Okay, whatever. I might check out The Penguin.
Yeah, Penguin. Oh, the first episode of HBO's new series, The Penguin, is out. Yep.
If you know, that's the villain from Batman.
And I kind of want to watch Steal the Vote, the documentary that's on HBO as well.
But
yeah, that's it. That's all I got. You got anything else?
Of course not.
Of course. All right. Thank you for listening to We Like That podcast.
So we like that.
Go ahead and click that subscribe button. You know you want to. And rate us 5 stars. I'm Javon.
I'm Calvin.
Later, people.
And we're out.